I'm Dionne. I'm the leadership coach and chief heart officer of Portex Logistics, and I'm here with Brian Kempisty, owner and founder. Brian and I connect biweekly to talk about innovative approaches to leadership development and share our successes with coaching and leading the team within Portex. So today we're going to talk about strategic plans, our employee guides, why those are important to review on a regular basis, and how that has led to our employees being happy and successful here. So we're going to talk about that with you today. So Brian, we kind of said that this would kind of maybe be me taking the lead a little bit more today, but I do want to start out by asking you a question about, you're always talking about we need, create the plan, follow the plan, execute on the plan. So when you created the employee guide way back when, did you realize that it would have such an impact on the employees as it does today? I know it wasn't quite as robust, but I know
No,
you
it was it
guys are.
wasn't as robust, and we didn't really know. I think our business plan and our success factors and the Declaration of Independence were all things that we made day one. So
Mhm.
those were foundational items for us. And we knew that those would be important. We thought it was a sound plan, but as we executed and the customers gave us feedback and the employees gave us feedback, we realized that there were some really powerful things in there. And Tom Zeiss had made our new employee intro guide, handbook, whatever you would like to call it, and it went through the business plan, the success factors, but it also went through the bingos, the customer accolades, Turvo. It went through everything that makes Portex special. And I think when I went through that, I was like, shit, like we should be reviewing this all the time,
Mhm.
because sometimes we get stuck in our day-to-day grind and we forget, especially when you're in an operations chair and you're getting fed through a fire hose all day. It's hard to keep that in the forefront. And what you're doing for us now, after we've created this guide, is going through sections of it with people
Yeah.
during some of your meetings. And I think that's just driving the point home and reinforcing everything. And I think you've gotten great feedback, right, T?
Yes, yes, great feedback. And, for those out there who are listening, basically what I've been doing is I have bi-weekly sessions with every single member of the Portex team. And what I've been doing the last couple of weeks is just asking them for some feedback on like what resonated with them, what stood out for them, like what did they reconnect with that maybe they forgot about, since the beginning, because the employee guide is something they get on their day one, right? And I think typically it's kind of forgotten about, it's put on the shelf, but what we've been doing and tasked by you, Brian, is going through that guide and getting some feedback. And what people have been saying is like, okay, this piece resonates with me. The bingos resonate with me, like loving the bingos. Um, just remembering some of the SOPs that they're supposed to be engaging with every day and why that's really important. And how it connects to the bigger picture of PortX. But you've heard me say this feedback before, Brian, that I've asked pretty much every single person on the team. I may not have gotten to every person quite yet, but I have not received any negative feedback about their experience with Portex, what it all means, how it all comes together, how the leadership team supports and guides and coaches up on a daily basis. And you guys are right now faced with some really big challenges, right? Like every day is, a big deal. And everyone just keeping their head down, has a really good attitude, certainly have their moments, but I think that says a lot about the culture. And I think with that as well, part of the culture you have created here, and hopefully I've helped to support, is just, holding the people up from the bottom, right? We have a call Tuesdays and Thursdays, and one of the things I talked about on there was about empathy and compassion for each other, right? Like I've had lots of conversations today specifically about people having life challenges, right? Like outside of the work environment and what they're doing here for PortX, people are experiencing life outside of here and challenging things that are difficult, right? But when they come to work, they're finding that it's like a place of like, okay, it's a good distraction from, the crap that's happening at home. So I think that says a lot about, coming back to that employee guide. How are we supporting and guiding the people and leading them with kindness and heart. Um, the second thing on our list here today is, why do you feel like creating that plan and then executing on that plan holds everything together, or we'll call it keeping it in alignment, or everyone rowing in the right direction? Like, why do you think that's important, and how can we share that with other leaders out there running organizations? I mean, we kind of know, but let's talk
Mm.
about
I I think I had a fair bit of experience when we wrote the plan. So I
it.
think we
Mhm.
knew everything that we didn't want to do. We learned what other companies did that were not good.
Sure.
Um, so we learned that proactive communication and treating people, you know, with respect and creating a fun atmosphere and wowing the customer. So we knew all those foundational pieces. But what I've seen happen to organizations in the past is they start with something,
Yeah.
whatever their thing is, their why, and they get a year in or 2 years or 5 years in, and they've lost their why. They've
Yeah.
turned into, "Oh, well, the CPA says we need to do this, and the spreadsheet says we need to do this," and they analyze every order that they um, might have lost some money on. And I think we really focus on the people, the employees, the customers, and we are not getting waylaid by all these other outside factors. And when we stay true to our why,
Yeah.
that makes our revenue and our number of shipments and our number of customers keep going up.
So the final question for us, or talking point for us today, is the impact of creating a foundation and the action steps that we take to keep all the employees engaged and happy. Um, and I feel, and tell me if you disagree, but having me on board is like that foundation, right? Like bringing it always back to the bottom line. And the leadership team, I mean, we talk about the people and how to take care of the people pretty much every day, right? I think that's one of the biggest action steps that we take, right? Just engaging, talking to them. How can we support them? How can we take care of them? What are your thoughts on that? The,
I think you help us stay focused on the core values and on the plan, because we always talk about what we're going to work on. And
yeah.
that was part of this employee onboarding handbook that we made that went through the business plan, the core values, the bingos, the technology, all of that. And you help bring that back because
Mhm.
we have these retreats that we do. You're dealing with the employees, but when we start our meetings and our retreats and we start everything that we do, we always go back to the beginning. Why? Why? What is the why of Portax?
Mhm.
And to create an aspirational brand within the transportation industry and create something that hasn't been done before, and
Mhm.
in doing so, changing the lives of our people and our customers. And I think everyone that we've got on board, if you asked them life pre-Port X and post-Port X, like their lives have changed significantly
Yeah.
for the better. And I think that's something that we can be really proud of, and it shows in the service that we provide to the customers.
Yeah.
But people lose their way. That's what your job is to make sure
Mhm.
everybody, I mean, I can't meet with everybody every other week. I mean, I can barely do what I do now, right? So
Right.
just keeping them all on the right path. And then by you and I talking, we're
Mhm.
keeping the organization on the right path too. We're not like, oh, let's try this idea. And then we're like, in a lot of organizations, they would try that idea, but we go back and that doesn't align with any of the stuff that we've set up. Let's reassess. Is there a way to make this work within our values and our business plan, or is that just a bad idea? Um,
Right.
and I think we've stayed away from almost all bad ideas.
Yeah, and even as we're planning for the retreat this year, right? Like, what are the action steps we want the leadership team to take? But let's start with the basic foundation first. What's the strategic plan? And then how do we roll out some initiatives that plug into the already created strategic plan, right? And they're always in alignment with, the core values, right? The three pillars: culture, service, tech. I feel like what you and I built out last night, culture, service, tech, how do we plug what we got to do next, or what's next for Portax into those foundational pieces? So it is really important to always come back to that foundation. Um, let's talk real quickly just about what we have learned, or you feel like the leadership team has learned about the authentic leadership piece being relatable. I sent out an article to the team about being authentic leaders and what that means, and how we make ourselves relatable to the team, right? And how being an authentic leader helps us to execute on the plan.
Yeah. I think we actually wrote that, because if you look at that article, it's everything that we do,
It
but it
is.
was nice and gratifying to see, like, oh, well, somebody else must agree with it, and it's
Yeah.
just affirmation that we are doing all the right things, and we're relating the authentic leadership along with our brand, our story, why people want to do business with us. And for us, just like you heard with the customer and the teammate in California, like, it's as authentic and easy peasy as
Mm,
it can be. Like,
mm.
it's clear communication, it's fun, it's friendly. Um, they're not worrying about offending anybody. They're not worrying about, saying anything. They know that it's an open forum, um, of communication, and there is complete trust.
Yeah. When I was going through the guide, I think I may have shared this with you, and I had asked someone, like, what is they're relatively new. They've been with the organization just over a year. What has their experience been like? And they were just saying that it's such a safe environment, and it's not like that gotcha mentality, right? Like someone, we're all looking over people waiting for that moment where they screw up, and then we can write them up, right? Where we're
You know
like,
what
okay,
those are that do that? You know who those people are, D?
say that again. What is that?
Know who those people are that do that gotcha, like, stuff?
The people who manage by spreadsheets, the
Yeah, they're
wieners?
managers, right? We're not
Oh,
managers, we're
managers, yeah.
leaders, right?
Yes.
Managers look over your shoulder and gotcha, and
Yeah.
we are trying to take them on this journey with us.
Yeah, for sure. And help them to develop as leaders themselves, right? So as I work with them, it's like, how can you be the best version of yourself, right? How can you open your mind and your thought process to be a bigger, better person, right? And not look for criticism of other people, but how do you support and help each other grow together? So we always say rowing the boat together, which is a big deal, and
Mhm.
everyone out there feels like we are all in the boat together, including you guys as the leadership team, right? One of our team members said that the one thing they most appreciate about Port X is the leadership team is right there with them, working harder, if as hard, if not harder, than the rest of the team. And then we had that comment from Evelyn that you call her and knew she was having a bad day and Ubered her some donuts, right? Like, what's your favorite food? Just,
Mhm.
what CEO, Ubers a box of donuts over to their people in LA, right? Just because they're having a bad day. Pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So,
When it's great
okay,
for me, I got as much out of sending the donuts as she did getting the donuts.
yeah, for sure, right? Yeah, it feels good. And we talk about random acts of kindness, right? We send like this week we send cards, right, out to our customers, to vendors, to each other. And this week alone, I got a couple cards just from the team thanking me for what I do. And I'm like, oh, random act of kindness from
Yeah,
internal. That's
yeah.
awesome, right? So okay, so anything else you want to add about the relevance and probably importance of kind of going back to those foundational pieces? We've talked about our declaration, we've talked about the strategic plan, employee guide. Any
Yeah.
other words of wisdom?
No, well, I mean, what I have is confidence and conviction, right? I
Okay.
think that we have learned, we set up the plan, and I was pretty confident in what we had set up, but we act with complete conviction with
Yeah.
what we do. We're not wishy-washy and hemming and hawing and, what should we do? And, you
Mm.
know, oh, geez, we might lose money on that. So should we just avoid it and try to sidestep it and do it the wrong way? We don't get led down that path.
Oh,
And many organizations, um, they have those managers that I spoke of. They get led down those paths,
yeah.
and they end up ruining it. And we've been really fortunate to stay, on our path with a lot of conviction,
Yeah.
and we execute daily. And it's. I mean, for us, the cool thing, it's been the time of our lives too. Like everybody's having so much fun. Like who gets to do that?
Yeah, for sure. In regard to what you just said too, Brian, that's about being authentic, right? That's about encouraging everyone at the table to speak their mind and be okay with expressing their thoughts and their opinions and not feeling like someone's going to take them down, but they can have a conversation about it, right? And then that leads you to let's take this bold risk. Like let's go in this direction. It could lead to something rather than saying like, "Oh, well this could happen, that could happen." I think the way that you think about it is like, well, what if this and this happens? Like
Yeah,
the
why
good
not
stuff
us, right? That
happens.
why not us is part of the plan.
Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope our conversation was helpful and that it allows you to grow and learn as a leader within your organization. So check the description box below where you can follow Portex Logistics and Dr. Dionne Kress on all social media platforms. And we'll meet you back here in a couple weeks where we can talk more about leadership development and how you can grow your organization. Thanks so much and have a great day.